Let's bring in Suzanne Kianpour, co-host of Global Power Shifts and the founder and CEO of Helmet to Heels. Welcome. So glad you're here, Suzanne, because today we are learning Secretary of State Marco Rubio is revoking green cards of foreign nationals with ties to the Iranian regime. What can you tell us about this, and how significant of a development is this?
So this is a major win for especially the members of the Iranian diaspora who have been calling for this for years. It actually started a couple of months ago, where there were some kind of deportations that we were seeing. And so now, particularly somebody like the relative of Qasem Soleimani, that is the person who they're talking about in this announcement, because she was somebody who was living lavishly and luxuriously in Los Angeles and not abiding by any of the, modesty laws that the Islamic Republic forces on women inside the country. And so it was just blatant hypocrisy. So the Iranian diaspora in particular is definitely celebrating this one.
And we just want to note some of the things that she was doing while living here: promoting Iranian regime propaganda, celebrating attacks against American soldiers and military facilities in the Middle East, denouncing America as the Great Satan, to which I wondered why in the world was she living here, but that's neither here nor there now. So President Trump insists.
But this is the thing. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
This is the thing, is that so a lot of these Iranian regime officials themselves have studied here in the United States, the supposed Great Satan. So they come here and they enjoy all of the benefits of American democracy, and then, go back and call it the Great Satan. And also the Iranian regime officials like Abbas Araghchi, the foreign minister, is using the tenets of American democracy, like freedom of speech and freedom of press, to speak his position, but not allowing that for their own people.
Okay. Thank you for that point. So the president insists that Iran's leadership is significantly weakened. But there are reports, including this from NBC News, citing experts who say there's no indication the regime has lost power. What are you hearing from Iranians about the presence of the government now versus before the conflict began?
So we're seeing a really interesting development among the IRGC versus reformers. So yesterday, I emailed the former foreign minister Javad Zarif, who negotiated the Iran nuclear deal and had a pretty close relationship with John Kerry. I covered those negotiations up close and personal. At the time, I was part of the State Department Diplomatic Press Corps. And he told me, I asked him for an interview because he wrote an essay in the Council on Foreign Relations Foreign Affairs magazine, basically calling for the end to the 47-year war with America, which I found surprising because that is essentially a pillar of the very existence of the Islamic Republic. It exists as the sort of anti-imperialist resistance movement, so to speak. And so he responded to me and he said, it's extremely difficult to conduct interviews under my security conditions. I have already committed to one and have not been able to get security clearance for minimal arrangements. So that means the IRGC is not clearing him to speak. And so today we're seeing hardliners calling Javad Zarif a traitor. We're also seeing Hassan Rouhani, the former president, the reformist president, saying that essentially there has to be room for evolution in order for the regime to survive. So they're really concerned, clearly.
Yeah, clearly. All right, Suzanne Kianpour, we're going to have you back soon. There's a lot to talk about with you. Thank you so much.